Engineer Dan, and it's time for the Roundhouse Club, where you can find out all you ever want to know about trains. All aboard, kids! Toot, toot!
On aboard! Hi, this is John Carrington, and we're welcoming you.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the Roundhouse Club. I'm your host, Engineer Dan, and we have a great program in store for you today, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, kids. I'm still here in the Roundhouse. Now, you know, the Roundhouse is the depot where all the train engines would pull in. So kids, if you want to be members of the Roundhouse Club, just contact us at the information you're seeing, at the address you're seeing on the screen right now. We'd love to have you all be members. Welcome, boys and girls, to the Roundhouse Club. I'm your host, Engineer Dan. All aboard for a fun-filled program. Now, today's show is going to be all about railroading, and I think you're going to learn a lot. I know when I was a kid, I loved trains. I loved to watch the trains go by, and I loved my Lionel train set. We set it up every year at Christmas time. And I'd love to watch that locomotive pull those cars around the track and to see the smoke coming out of its stack. And it was just one of my favorite toys I ever had. So anybody out there that has a train, you old people, if you have memories, and you young kids, if you have a train set now, write us or send us an email and tell us about it. Tell us what you like to do with your train and how you enjoy it. Yeah, and you'll be able to come down and be a guest on the clubhouse. Model railroads is a great hobby in America these days. It has been for a long time. You know, there are millions of people who enjoy model railroads, and not just kids either. It's adults, it's people from all walks of life. Speaking of model railroads, why don't we take a look at this right now?
Hello, I'm Michael Gross, the host of the B&O Railroad Museum Television Network. You know, the hobby of miniature model trains electrifies the child in all of us, including myself. The B&O's Public Relations Department recognized that early, and that the railroad's role in history was significant. Maintaining public awareness, especially for kids and families, was just as important. Now, this led to the creation of a set of traveling model railroads that served as ambassadors of a sort for the B&O. Now, we are today inside the B&O Railroad Museum's Hayes T. Watkins Library, and behind me in this case is a set of one of those traveling model railroads. This traveled each holiday season along the B&O system to various points and was exhibited at various public locations. It was commissioned by the B&O and manufactured by the A.C. Gilbert Company, who made American Flyer electric trains as well as the ever popular Erector set.
In 1936, the B&O constructed a portable O-gauge layout at its Montclair shops in Baltimore that weighed about 14,000 pounds with 36 sections. Valued at nearly $50,000, this traveling model exhibit measuring 50 feet long and 25 feet wide would appear periodically in communities across the B&O railroad system and was recognized as one of the finest ever constructed. During World War II, the layout was exhibited in Army and Veterans hospitals and served as an educating tool and focal point for stimulating sales of war bonds and stamps in the civilian sector. After World War II, in which now defunct Baltimore-based department store was B&O's model train layout displayed? We'll find out after this commercial break. Stay tuned for information on upcoming events at the B&O Railroad Museum. The B&O layout was displayed at the Hutzler's department store in Baltimore during the 1945 Christmas holiday season. 1 year later, it was exhibited in Cincinnati inside the spacious lobby of the Cincinnati Gas and Electric Company, where about 500,000 people viewed it. By the late 1940s, it became apparent that the popularity of the O-gauge model train layout mandated production of other layouts. HO, S, and new O-scale traveling layouts were designed and constructed by B&O employees at Montclair and traveled throughout Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and other major cities throughout the B&O railroad system.
See more operating scale model and toy trains at the B&O's Ellicott City Station Holiday Festival of Trains. A brand new 360-degree multi-level model train layout fills one end of the station. Children particularly love the Thomas the Tank Engine layout. Plan a visit and experience the magic of holiday trains. I'm Michael Gross. Happy holidays, and thanks for watching the B&O Railroad Museum Television Network.
Interested in learning more about the B&O Railroad Museum and Ellicott City Station? Follow us on Facebook and Twitter with daily updates on upcoming events, coupons, photographs, history, and things to do in Baltimore. You'll never be off track.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was Michael Gross, who's a spokesman for the B&O Railway Museum. Now, as you may know, the B&O, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, was one of the great railroads of this country, going from Baltimore out to the west. And the B&O Museum is one of the great museums of Baltimore to this day. And I'm sure you're all going to want to come visit it. We hope you're enjoying the show so far. We'll be right back. About my job as an engineer. I think you know, the job of an engineer is to drive the train. But you don't drive it like a car because it's on the rails. You don't have to steer it. What you do is you control the speed and the stopping and starting of the train. That's about it. Well, plus you have to link it up with the other cars, but then you know that. Now, me being engineer Dan, of course, I only drive the old steam locomotives. Drive a steam locomotive, you need a fireman. Now the fireman puts the coal in the fire. Okay, fire heats up the steam, and that builds up the pressure, and I control how much of the steam goes through to the engine to make it go. If I put a lot of steam in, that makes the train go faster. If I squeeze it, so not too much steam gets in there, it'll go slower. And if you want to stop the train, you've got brakes, but you've also got reverse. You really need to stop the train, you put it in reverse, and then the engine will help stop the train. And, well, I think that's about all you need to know. So, choo-choo! We hear that train, hear that whistle blowing, kids, so that's it for right now. Welcome back, kids. Hey, do you kids know any good train stories? Let's see, you probably know some stories about Thomas the Train, right? What about the little engine that could? Do you know that one? Okay, does anybody out there know the story of the little engine that could? This is a little engine that just wouldn't give up. When everybody said it couldn't do it, it couldn't pull the train over the hill, but it said, yes I can, yes I can do it. It's all about not giving up, kids. You gotta keep on pushing or pulling, and you'll get it over the hill. Remember, just like Engineer Dan, keep telling yourself, I can do it. Then there was the story of Casey Jones. He was one of the most famous train engineers of all time. He was an engineer for the Central Illinois Railroad. And he could blow the whistle like nobody ever heard. People said it sounded like a whippoorwill. And whenever anybody heard that train whistle blow, they would say, that's Casey Jones going by. Because nobody else's whistle sounded like his. Now, Casey Jones was a real American hero. One time, when he left the train under his co-engineer, he went out on the side to try to oil the wheels while the train was going. And what did he see up ahead? Some kids were crossing the track, and a little girl got so scared when she saw the train coming that she froze right in the middle of the track. His co-engineer tried to slow the train down, but Casey Jones, he climbed out on the cow catcher, and when the train got to her and it was still moving, he leaned way out and picked her up and pulled her onto the cow catcher and saved her life. That's the kind of guy that engineer Casey Jones was. Then there was the other time when he was behind schedule. He was driving that train at 75 miles an hour, and they knew he was coming. There was a freight train on the track. They were supposed to get it off of the main track so he wouldn't get in his way, and they couldn't get it all the way off, and there were 4 cars left on the track. And when he saw it, he did everything he could to slow the train down. And he blew the whistle so all the other passengers would be ready to jump off, and the people, if anybody was on the freight train ahead, so they'd get clear. And his fireman jumped off, but Casey Jones stayed on it all the way so he could keep trying to slow the train down and keep blowing the whistle. And when it hit the freight train ahead, the engine jumped off the track, and Casey Jones was killed. He was found under the car, but he saved the lives of every other person on the train. And the United States Postal Service put him on a stamp because he was such a famous hero all throughout the United States. That was Engineer Casey Jones, my hero. Toot, toot, toot! And we'll be right back. All right, who out there knows any railroad songs? Well, I know one. How about this one? I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Can't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morn. Can't you hear the whistle blowing? Dinah, blow your horn. Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone's in the kitchen, I know. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah, a-strumming on the old banjo and singing fee-fi, fiddly-I-O, fee-fi, fiddly-I-O, fee-fi, fiddly-I-O, strumming on the old banjo. Okay, maybe I'm not the greatest singer, kids, and I'm sure some of you are a lot better, and maybe some of you don't sing as well as you'd like to, but don't let that stop you. Because singing is fun, no matter how it sounds. And you can always sing in the shower. Don't forget to sing in the shower. If there's any railroad songs you'd especially like to hear, send us an email or drop us a line, and we'll see what we can do. Choo, choo. That's it for now. We'll be back in a minute.
If you miss the train I'm on, then you'll know that I am
I'm one, Lord, I'm two, Lord, I'm three, Lord, I'm four, Lord, I'm 500 miles from my home. Away from home, away from home, away from home, away from home. Lord, I'm 500 miles from my home. If you
Miss the train I'm on, and you know that I am gone. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles.
Hey kids, I can. This is Engineer Dan, and always remember, you can too. Hey kids, has anybody ever heard of the Tom Thumb? It was the first locomotive in Maryland, and it was on the B&O Railroad. Yes sir, right here. And back in those days, they didn't just call them locomotives, they had a nickname for them. They called them the Iron Horse, because everybody was used to horses pulling things, and here the locomotive was pulling the train instead of the horse. But it would take a lot of horses to pull that train, wouldn't it? But the Tom Thumb did it all, and did it first. But you know, there was another Tom Thumb. That's what the locomotive was named for. He was an English fairy tale character, and people think it was the first fairy tale ever published in the English language. And he was a little man about the size of my thumb, and that's why they called him Tom Thumb. He had all sorts of wonderful adventures, just like the little engine that could. Tom Thumb, no bigger than your thumb. But he surprised everybody in the things he could do. And so can you kids, never forget it. Okay, let's go back to the B&O Railway Museum in Baltimore and see what's going on down there. And the B&O Railway Museum has a wonderful gift shop with all sorts of nice model trains and toy trains that I'm sure you kids will like. Let's have a look at that now. Shop is open year-round, and it's a great place to go and shop for birthday presents and Christmas presents and any other kind of present. Now don't go away, we'll be right back. Okay, well, let's have another look now at Michael Gross and what's going on with the B&O Railway Museum.
Hello, I'm Michael Gross, host of the B&O Railroad Museum Television Network. This classic blue and scheme on B&O locomotives and the iconic Capitol Dome Herald were symbols of the B&O Railroad for generations.
The B&O Railroad Herald, known as the Capitol Dome logo, was created by artist and designer Otto Kohler, one of the best-known industrial designers and artists in America. Throughout his career, he designed sports cars, street and subway cars, a typewriter, heat-insulated food containers, passenger and freight cars, but is perhaps best known for his streamlined designs for steam and diesel locomotives. His creative concepts for design still influence American railroads today. In addition, he was a prolific artist of industrial aesthetics and of the American West. Kohler became a U.S. citizen in 1928. 8 years before, he had married Simone Guillot. daughter of a Belgian doctor. Appointed as art director of the B&O Employees magazine in the 1930s and 40s, Cooler was instrumental in developing the blue and gray color scheme used on the company's passenger sets and the modernized Herald. The first Cooler-type locomotive pulled the B&O's famous Royal Blue passenger train between Washington, D.C. and New York on April 25, 1937. Eventually, the Coolers sold their New York home and moved to a ranch near Pine, Colorado. Cattle raising, functional building design, and painting the American West would occupy the autumn of his life. At age 75, he sold the ranch and moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico. 8 years later, he moved to Denver, Colorado, where Cooler died at age 83.
I'm Michael Gross. Thanks for watching the B&O Railroad Museum Television Network.
Interested in learning more about the B&O Railroad Museum and Ellicott City Station? Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, you know what time it is, kids? It's about time for me to be saying goodbye. I hope you all had lots of fun today. I know I did. And I know we're going to have lots of fun next time, too. So don't forget to come back to the Roundhouse Club. See you next time. Until then, this is Engineer Dan saying, toot, toot.